I mean, I've had people, like my mom's friend was like, well, what does your husband think about you posting that? And I'm like, well, for one, it's my body, not his. He does not own it.
Amen.
And secondly, he's not one of those guys that's trying to tell me to cover up and stuff. Like my ex-best friend's boyfriend, he thinks that it's awesome that he feels like I'm empowered, and like he's very supportive of that. And so he's like, if you feel good about it, then I say do it.
It's not like you're trying to like get some from posting. Hey guys, welcome back to another episode of Side Boobs and Side Hustles. I'm Britt.
And I'm Shelby.
There's something I need to address.
What?
Everybody calls me Britt or B or Farris.
Mm-hmm.
Nobody calls me Brittany, but it's really, really, really hard for me not to say Brittany. Like, it feels weird to call myself Britt.
No, it shouldn't.
But it does.
I was about to say Shelbs, but
it feels weird, doesn't it?
It feels weird, and
Exactly.
It's kind of like I get tongue-tied, kind of.
Yeah, I feel like saying Britt is an incomplete sentence.
I feel like Britt is a nickname, and it's like other people call you by your nickname, not by your...
But I don't feel like I can call myself that.
I can't call myself Shelbs. I'm Shelbs. No, it's so weird.
That's
one
why
sounds
I say
worse.
Shelby.
Yeah.
Okay, we'll see what I go with. I change it every time, I feel.
You do. Today, we are here with Macy.
Macy
Haney. And she's going to tell us a lot of things today, actually, like massage therapy. She's a model. She's very big into like wellness, body shaming, feminism.
She's an artiste.
She is. She's going to tell us a little bit about therapy and kind of just her all around style too, I feel.
Yeah, she's trendy.
She's very trendy, and I'm very jealous because I am not trendy at all.
Yes. Before we get into that, I think we're gonna give this new segment a shot. I don't know.
Yeah?
I don't know. I don't know what to call it. Like that new.
That new. We're on that new shit.
So what we want to do is every week we will announce something that Shelby and I are going to try that is new throughout the week, and we are going to encourage our listeners to try it as well. It could be a recipe.
Yoga? I don't know.
It could be, we don't know yet. We haven't made it that far. Skydiving.
I might shit myself if I skydive.
Yeah, we're just going to do something new, announce it, and then talk about it. So if you want to participate.
Stay tuned.
Yeah, we'll see.
Stay tuned. It was just an idea that we wanted to tell you guys, but we don't have it fully planned yet.
No plans. What do you want to do this week?
Let's do a workout.
Okay.
A workout? Is that good?
Yeah.
That's something everybody can do.
Yeah.
We'll
post a specific one so people can find it.
Yes. Check out our Instagram
story.
Yeah.
It'll be there when we find it. We haven't found it yet.
Yeah. Just
and let us know if
keep
you
in
liked
touch.
it. They all do it and we don't.
Probably. We're going to be doing a workout with our wine glass to our mouth and back on the table.
We're like, good job, guys. You're doing great.
Yeah. So let's do high and low real quick. Do you want to go first?
Yes. For those new listeners out there, we do high key, low key, and it basically, obviously, the high is like a high moment in your life. Brag on yourself, something exciting, and then low key is like,
We're kind of embarrassed about it, or it's not really going great for us. Mine's usually about stress.
Yeah, just something you need to get off your chest or something awkward. So that's that. You want me to go first?
You go first.
Okay, so high key. You guys, I told you that Gus is trying to be little Keezy Breezy for Keystone Light. His submissions are in. We find out tomorrow, but Keystone Light has liked all 3 of his submissions on Instagram, people.
Yes, and we're talking about the beer here.
Yeah.
The beer, the company. And tell them what happens if you win.
If he wins, he becomes their mascot for a year. We get a year's supply of Lightful Keystone Light, and we get $10,000.
Woohoo! Time to buy a house.
I know. That's what we're going to do. I need it. I'm so nervous.
I know.
I'm sweating.
And you're breathing heavy.
I think I'm going to cry. Even if I don't, either way, tomorrow I'm crying regardless of the results.
Tomorrow we're not doing the workout.
No, not tomorrow. You won't find me working out tomorrow.
So, okay, then what's your low?
My low. So a couple days ago, I was painting my mom's house and I shut my finger in the sliding door and I was about to throw up. Then yesterday, I slammed my leg in the door. The wind was so crazy and I was like halfway in my car and the wind just slammed it right on my kneecap.
So,
you know how things happen in threes? I'm scared of what's going to get smashed next.
So Brittany's not good with doors.
No.
You should probably watch out for the car because that's probably what's next.
I know. I'm really nervous. But
hopefully you don't lose a limb.
I have like bruises on my legs from being crushed. And it made a weird popping sound.
Oh, no.
So
no workout for you.
Nope, still can't work out, guys.
That's a good excuse.
Yeah.
What's my excuse? Okay, my high. Okay, so as many of you know, Tyler. I don't know why I said that so weird. I was like, oh, do I say his name? But I've said his name the whole time. So Tyler, you all know Tyler by now. We had his 2-year-old daughter this weekend with us for Easter. And guess what, guys?
What?
Oh my God, I need a drum roll. She chose to lay with me over Tyler and her grandma.
Aww.
She chose me over both of them.
That's really sweet and precious.
That's like, I know it's kind of like weird for you guys. Like, oh, okay, yeah, cool. But that's like a monumental step for me.
Yeah.
Coming in as like a bonus mom. I almost cried.
Gotta feel good.
It does. Because that means she trusts me and she's comfortable with me.
Aw.
I know.
That's cute.
Oh, freaking love that little girl. And then my low. What was my low?
Oh.
Oh no. What was
I just
it?
remembered.
What is it? You
Your
tell
fucking
them.
time management skills.
My time management, guys. I'm dying over here.
Bitch is about to get fired.
I was literally like 30 seconds late to the interview today with Macy.
Here's the thing, though. You have to be here early so we can discuss the interview before she gets here. You got here after the guest.
I got here after the guest, guys. But I went out of town for Easter. Just kidding. I have no excuse.
No, you don't.
I have no excuse. I did tell her that tonight when I go home, I'm going to like make a list and prioritize my time better. Usually I'm very good. I'm never late.
Just like this last month, it's freaking me out.
Last month.
Every time I need you here, I tell you an hour early just because I know you're not going to be here on time.
I know. And I've never been like that. I've always been like very trustworthy in that aspect and everything. And I don't know what's going on. Because I feel like it's because I try to sleep as long as I can, as much as I can. And the fact that I was coming from like an hour and a half, hour and 40 minutes away, I didn't realize like, oh, it's 11:30. I was supposed to leave at 11:12 or whatever.
Yeah.
And I was just trying to sleep as much as I could because I am not getting good sleep.
Yeah.
My night terrors are coming back.
Well, we forgive you for now.
For now. Don't let it happen again.
Yeah.
I don't want to be replaced.
Yeah. You better shape the fuck up.
Okay. So let's get this thing started with Macy.
Yeah. And here is Macy Haney.
Woohoo!
All right, guys, we are sitting down with Macy Haney today. Hi.
Hello.
You look ravishing.
Yes.
Thank you.
You're so stylish.
I try.
I know you're a big thrifter, and we'll talk about that more later. But for now, go ahead and just kind of tell us your backstory, who you are, how you got to where you are now.
Yes.
All those little history details.
Okay. Well, I've lived in Wichita my whole life except for second grade. I lived in Texas during that time. So, I don't know. Like, do I need to mention that, or can I just say Wichita the whole time?
It's whatever you want to do, honestly. I don't care. So, you moved to Texas while in second grade and then moved back?
Yeah, my mom started dating this guy after my parents divorced, so we moved there with him because of his job. Then they broke up, so we came back.
Okay,
So,
gotcha.
Yeah.
So short-term time.
Yes. And I remember I was so happy to move back because I was going to be around the rest of my family, but I was really bummed because I was about to enter an art show at school, and then she's like, we're moving back, and I was like,
Dang.
I want to do the art show.
Yeah, art was my favorite in elementary school.
Yes. I did one at that school and I got 3rd place out of like 30. And so then I really wanted to do it again. But we had to move. So
damn,
whatever. But it was good because she got away from that guy.
From that guy.
Yes.
Gotcha. Where did you go to school at when you lived here?
I went to Northwest High School. Yep. So graduated 2011. And then I went to Butler after that because I didn't know what I wanted to do.
I think everybody should start it at community colleges, honestly.
Right? Like, I think everybody just goes there because they're not sure what they want to do yet.
Did you figure it out?
Kind of. It was more of like, I didn't care about school. I started dropping classes like crazy, and I had just broken up with my boyfriend from high school, and that was like my first really bad heartbreak. So I was really depressed, and I was barely going to school, dropping classes. I lost my financial aid, and then I wanted to take a year off. My mom wouldn't let me. She was like, nope, if you're living here, you're going to school, you're working. And so she pushed me to keep going. So
I think a lot of college students are very depressed and they don't want to talk about it and they don't want to deal with it. And a lot of them either just shut everybody out or they party a lot.
It's just a weird age where you're expected to know like everything that you want to do with your life, and you're expected to just succeed so quickly.
You're expected to know what the heck you're doing. But for me, it was hard because my parents didn't go to college, so I had no idea what FAFSA even was.
Yeah,
honestly.
Yeah, it's like you're the first person to figure it out.
Yeah, and it's like just so much on your plate, and you don't want to fail, but don't have the help from your parents and stuff like that.
It was really hard too because I felt like my mom was pushing me to figure out what I want to do immediately, and I wasn't sure yet, and I didn't want to waste money and time.
Yeah.
But I know she just didn't want me to be lazy and work at Target for the rest of my life. So
yeah,
that's why. But I was kind of like, how are you expecting me to figure out right now what I want to do for the rest of my life, but you won't even let me stay out past midnight? Like, we had a lot of issues with that.
Yes.
It's like you're expected to be an adult, but then again, you can't do other things.
Other adult things.
Yeah.
So you went to Butler. Did you end up graduating? Do you have a degree, or did you end up taking a different path?
No, so I just did gen eds there. I only passed like English, Spanish, and human sexuality class. And I still didn't know what I wanted to do. And so at that point, when I was going to take a year off, my mom was like, nope. I was literally watching Jerry Springer at home on the couch.
Oh, it's the best.
And this commercial came on for Heritage College and their massage program. And I was like, okay, I'll try it. And I applied online right then. And they called me like 10 minutes later. And I had an interview the next day. So it happened very fast. Yeah. So, and they tried to kind of act like it was hard to get in, but it absolutely was not at all.
I don't think they would have called you that fast if it was that hard to
get in. They probably like needed students.
Oh yeah,
especially them.
And I think they went bankrupt. They're not even open anymore.
Oh, okay. Gotcha.
So what was that college? What did it entail?
So they had like different programs. They had massage, X-ray tech, dental tech, vet tech, just like a. What do you call that? Like a trade school?
Yeah,
kind of.
But yeah, massage was like their main program. So you did one class at a time for 6 weeks, each class, which was really nice because then you don't have to focus on a bunch of stuff.
That sounds really nice.
Full classes, yeah.
Yeah,
that's
it was
so nice.
Super nice. And so it was like 4 hours a day, 5 days a week. I did the morning classes. So yeah, it was about a year with an internship. But I did almost drop out because I was at that point, after going through like the breakup from high school, like before Butler, and then after that I met all my friends from back then, and I was just partying and drinking like 5 nights a week, like just I was not doing good in that aspect, and I was just not really caring about school after a while.
How long was the program for?
About a year.
A year?
Yeah, okay. Including an internship at the end. And then you also did, like, you know, when people are in hair school and they are on the floor for a little bit before they graduate, we had something kind of like that too. So they called it clinic, but so I did that as well. But
so you just saw this commercial while you were watching Jerry Springer, like that's what I'm gonna do.
Yeah, it was like your calling.
That's really
it's kind of weird how it works, honestly.
I don't know. I think it's on Netflix. Ellen has a stand-up thing where she talks about her thing, and it's just like all of a sudden out of nowhere. You have to watch it. It's crazy, but it reminds me of that, like how she became who she is.
That's awesome.
Because she was in a really, really low place at that point in her life too.
So going with the massage therapy, like what are some benefits of like getting a massage? Is it like physical, mental, emotional? Is it all of it? Like,
Yeah,
what do you think the benefits are?
It can be everything, because I mean, you can even have people who they don't realize that they're holding emotional stress in their muscles, and you start working on them and they'll just start crying on your table because it's just releasing it. It's so crazy.
I feel like that would be me right now.
Yeah. Because I've even gotten a massage before too, and I don't know why, but I just feel like I want to cry right now afterwards. Mm-hmm. So it's really cool, especially also because some people use it as like their therapy session, and they talk to you the whole time about their problems. You just have to be careful because it's out of my scope of practice, I guess, to give them advice. So I just listen and yeah.
Oh,
So
that's awesome though.
But yeah, I like that it has like that mental and emotional aspect of it as well as the physical, because that's kind of obvious, but like I like that part too.
I think most people see it as like a luxury to get a massage, and it's really not. I think that people need to be doing it regularly.
Yeah. Take care of yourself.
If only like health insurance would cover it more, because I've had some instances where they do, but yeah, it's definitely a necessity for a lot of people, especially people who have a lot of illnesses and stuff and problems with their bones and
like
joints,
chronic issues too.
Yeah.
I bet it's nice like having people come and talk to you, because it's always nice to like be the listener, because then people can kind of trust you. And
yeah, I've noticed because I've done massage for 7 years now, so over time, since I'm not allowed to really talk to them too much about myself or give them advice, sometimes when I'm talking to people just in general outside of work, I forget to be like, oh, how are you, after they asked me. Because I'm kind of used to not saying a lot. But I don't know, it is nice because there's sometimes where I'm in my massage room with my client and it's completely silent, and it's kind of nice. I don't have to talk to anyone. Yeah. But if they are talking, then the time goes by really fast.
So like, how frequently should someone get a massage?
It really depends on the person. Usually I would say every 2 weeks or every month, like once a month if you can. It really just depends. I think a lot of people, it depends on how much they can afford too. Yeah. So I feel bad telling them. I'm like, hey, if you can come weekly or bi-weekly, that'd be great. But I'm like, I don't know their financial situation, and I know that's really hard. But then again, it's like, I shouldn't assume that they can't afford it, even though I know I probably couldn't.
It's like
I mean, it's your job to make the recommendation, so regardless, I mean.
Yeah, either they're going to take it or they don't. If they don't, that's okay. If they do, then that's great.
Yeah. So, but yeah, it's definitely really good if they have certain issues with a specific area or something, if they come consistently to get a massage and then they like trail off slowly after that. But that initial being consistent with it can help a lot.
I got one about a month ago, and I don't know if they're like supposed to tell me what they're doing the whole time, but the only thing she said to me, she was like, does your hip hurt? And I was like, well, when you touch it, I guess it kind of does. And she's like, it's really crooked. She didn't explain it any further than that. So now I'm like, oh my God, do I need to go back? Is something wrong with my hip? Do I need to go to the chiropractor?
I love the chiropractor.
I love the chiropractor too.
They help so much. It goes hand in hand.
So I have a question. Like, what is the difference between a regular massage and the deep tissue? Like, what does it do for your body?
So what I mostly do is Swedish massage, which is usually, it's certain techniques, which, because I don't know like shiatsu or anything like that, but it's usually a medium pressure. And then deep tissue is going farther into the muscles, into the fascia, using a lot more of my elbows and forearms. It's a lot slower and more of, it's relaxing, but it's more of like, we're gonna fix this problem.
Like, it might hurt now, but it'll feel good later, maybe.
Yes. And we do have like a pain scale. So if it's hurting so bad that you're tensing up, you're shaking, or you're holding your breath, clenching your fist, like, that's not even helping. So you want to be at their pain tolerance to like right before it's really hurting them. Because like we did in school, it's on a scale of 1 to 10. So 5 is like your medium, it's good, and you want to be at like 7 or 8 when you're working on areas with deep tissue.
Yeah. How how are your hands strong enough? Like, I give a
Are they
massage
sore?
for like 2 minutes and I'm like,
arthritis?
I'm done.
Oh my God. I'm
Carpal
probably
tunnel.
going to have carpal tunnel like next year.
Yeah.
It's been really weird since we've been not working for the past month. Like my hands haven't had a break for 7 years.
Yeah.
I've been doing it constant. So that's been really, really strange. I have had problems with my thumbs. The chiropractor even pops them. It's so awesome.
That's crazy.
But yeah.
Tyler's really good at popping thumbs, but I can't do it to save my life. I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know how to do it myself.
I don't know.
But yeah, my hands used to hurt really bad when I first started, and now they're just sore every once in a while. Sometimes, like after a long week, they'll be sore in the mornings. But I think I've built up the strength in them quite a bit.
That's wild because I literally can't do it for more than
My
like 2
thumbs
minutes.
cramp
Right?
up.
Yeah, it's like you massage like your boyfriend or whoever for like 10 minutes, and you're like, okay, I'm done. Yeah.
Okay, now you do me for 30 minutes.
Yeah.
Yeah. What was I going to say? I had a question. What is it?
While you're thinking, do you have any like funny stories from giving massages that you can share?
Oh God. Yeah. Well.
Yeah.
Because I mean, in school they had us write a paper about what you would do if somebody got really creepy and stuff like that. And I feel like we should have like a panic button in our rooms or something that we can hit. Because for one, your hands are all slippery. Like, what if you can't get to the door? Yeah. And I've thought about when I have a guy in my room. And okay, so the door's here, the big table's right there. What if I'm on the other side of it working on this side of him, and then I can't get to the freaking door if he tries to attack me? So I've definitely, it's sad, but I've had, like, when I have male clients, I have to think like of exit strategies. I don't like I don't leave my drink in there.
Every woman in any situation, but especially yours, that's kind of scary because I'm sure you're like in a tinier room, and
it is really can be scary. I'm definitely like on the defense usually, unless I've worked on them a million times, because usually I have coffee in my room with me, and while they're getting on the table, I take it out of the room because I'm like, what if they put a roofie in this? And then I come back in and I start drinking my coffee while I'm working on them, and I pass out. Yeah. Like, you have to be so careful, which is so sad, but but yeah, no, I had a really uncomfortable situation. It was like a year ago maybe, and this guy, I had seen him like 4 or 5 times, and we always talked throughout the massage. So it was kind of like we built up that client therapist friendship. So I felt even more pissed off about what he did, and he was probably like in his 50s. And when I came in the room, like the 4th or 5th time I saw him, he had the sheet completely below his butt, and he was like completely naked, which I don't care, you know, I actually prefer my clients to be, so I can actually work on your glutes, but he had the sheet completely below his butt, and I was like, okay, I don't need it that low, like because when I drape you, I don't need you to see your butt crack. I know how to do it. So I'm like, you don't have to have the sheet that low. And so I just covered him back up. But then when I flipped him over, he kept trying to scoot the sheet like down more, and he had his arms on top of it, so I couldn't pull it up. And normally it's like, you know, up here on your chest, and he had it down so low below his belly button, and he kept inching it down and down, and then I saw his pubes. And at that point, I was like, okay, we're done. And I just walked out. There was like 20 minutes left of the massage, and I was like, I can't do this.
Yeah.
That's crazy. I would not know what to I wouldn't know how to handle it.
I was shaking.
I wouldn't know what to do. I'd be like, oh my God. Oh my God.
Yeah. Like, what do I do? I don't know.
Do I leave?
I'm awkward.
Do I
do I look like I'm awkward?
Oh my
like,
God. It's so scary. And I was so mad.
Yeah. Yeah. It's just like
Just
not necessary.
Yeah. In that situation.
Yeah. So, what is it like touching somebody's naked body? Is it weird at first? Is it not? Is it normal?
It seems normal to me because I just see it as like my work. Like, I don't think, oh my God, this person's naked on my table. I'm like, okay, this is the problem area. I'm gonna work on this. Like, in my head, I don't say that, but yeah, I just see it as like
it's your job.
Yeah, I don't. Because I have had people who are like friends or family or whoever, and they're like, oh, I don't know if I could get naked in front of you. And I'm like, well, for one, I'm not going to see anything. Yeah. And I'm not thinking of it that way at all.
Yeah.
So, I don't know. It's, I don't know. I saw this thing that was like, describe the job that you do in the weirdest way. And I was like, I literally touch naked people for a living. I rub lotion on them.
I rub lotion on them, and my hands are all oily.
Yeah.
And just imagine like a hairy back and having I don't know if I could handle
when
it.
you, I've had like your hands start to go numb because of the hair on their back, and then I've had like their back hair like stuck to my hair.
That's why I can't be a hairdresser. I hate when there's like hand, like not hair.
No, but there's been I've seen a lot of gross stuff. I've seen it all.
So, what I was going to ask earlier is, do you have any like at home like tips or tricks or like pressure points that would help people, or like what's like a at home remedy you would recommend?
I definitely have that because when I leave my clients, I tell them usually when they should come back, and then also I give them kind of homework, and honestly a lot of people don't do it, and then expect me to fix them magically after one time, and I'm like, okay, but did you do everything I told you to do? Because I always make sure I tell them to drink a lot of water, especially the day of. That's really important since we moved around all the toxins, and hopefully push them out and increase their circulation. So drinking a lot more water than normal, and then stretching is a huge thing, and most people don't do it, but that really can improve your situation a lot. I tell people they can get a tennis ball and go on the wall to use that to get out trigger points.
Like 2 days ago, I could not move my neck like side by side, but then like throughout the day, the more I moved, the more I stretched it, the better it felt.
Yeah, like practicing range of motion is really important too.
I have been painting my mom's house, so I've been like looking up and like doing this, and I woke up and I was like, oh my god, I don't know what to do. I don't know what to do. It hurts so bad.
We'll like ask, like, what do you do for a living? That's a huge thing I ask them, because if you think about like a construction worker or something, they're like this all day doing something like hammering or something, that's gonna totally correlate. I have a lot of women who hold their purse or their kids on one certain side, and that really messes them up. So
So transitioning into something a little more serious, you had mentioned to us earlier about what it was like breaking up with your best friend. Do you want to tell us more about that?
Yeah,
because everybody goes through it.
Every woman goes through this. Men, I feel like they go through this, but they're best friends like the next day. They just get into a fist fight.
Oh yeah, then they're over
and then they're over it.
Yeah.
So what?
Definitely, because I feel like everybody goes through this, but it's not talked about as much as like
it's not, and it should be.
Yeah. So I had this best friend since I was 11. So we were best friends for like 14 years.
Yeah,
really long time. And she was in my wedding, like everything. So that's what kind of when it fell apart, which was 2 years ago. And there were a lot of different reasons why I had to break up with her. And I'm not good with confrontation at all.
Oh, I'm not either. I hate it.
God,
it scares me.
No.
I'm getting better though.
Especially because like anytime we had an issue, her and I, like, she would start crying and be like, I'm so sorry, and then I would feel terrible, like maybe I overreacted, and I was like, you never really even got to address it because the emotions
took control.
Swerved it. Yeah, it was like, did I overreact on her? But then she would do that for everything. So
yeah, well then it's kind of bad because you feel like you're in the wrong and you're sorry when really you shouldn't be.
Yes.
Yeah.
So isn't that like called gaslighting or something? Or they make you feel like you're crazy?
Yes.
I just learned about gaslighting this year.
It's a thing.
It's bad. It goes
Everybody
on
look it up on Urban Dictionary. Gaslighting.
It's a thing for sure. But really, I'll tell you guys like what like really kick-started like where I was like, okay, I'm done. But up until then, it was like she would lie about every single thing. It doesn't even matter what it was. Like, if you don't want to hang out, just tell me, but you don't have to lie to me. Like, she would have plans with me and then say that she's sick, and then she would post, like, she had no shame. She would post on Snapchat that she's hanging out with people. Like, I'm like, if you don't want to hang out with me, just be honest. I'm mad about
something else going on.
Yeah. So, long story short, it was, like, the lying was getting to me about different things, and, like, I would get mad about that, and we wouldn't talk for months, and then I would forgive her, and then, she also has an abusive boyfriend. He's definitely verbally and mentally, emotionally abusive. And I got tired of her coming to me and crying about it, and then I would be there for her, and then literally like later that day she would blow me off for him.
Yes.
Yeah. And
That's
I was like,
the worst.
like, I eventually got to the point where I just started yelling at her. I was like, why are you doing this to yourself? Like, don't talk to me about him anymore. I don't want to hear it.
Well, after you put in so much of your input and your time, and it wears you out, honestly, because she's going through it, but then you're going through it also because she's bringing you into it. And
yeah.
It's exhausting. And it's like, you don't want to help them. You can only help somebody as much as they want to help themselves.
Exactly. Yeah, that's where I was like, okay, I'm done doing this. Like, because I remember she like told me, she's crying. She's like, he called me a bitch. He did this. He did that. And I'm just like, okay, but you're going to go hang out with him later.
Yeah.
And she would even like, I would ask her to hang out and she would say, well, we got into a fight earlier and I want to be available to see him if he wants to work it out. And I'm like, why are you giving him that?
Yeah. That freedom.
Yeah.
It comes to the point where like he's not doing it to you, you're doing it to yourself because you're letting it happen over and over. So
yeah. And now they've been together like over 9, 10 years or something like that, a really long time. And I've been so worried that she's just wasting her 20s with this guy, and like they don't even live together. And it's like, okay, do what you want, you know, you don't have to live together, but I know she wants marriage and kids and stuff. And like he laughs when anyone brings it up. When she brings it up, when I would bring it up, like he would just start laughing and be like, oh, I don't know.
One of my best friends went through that. They were together for 9-10 years, high school sweethearts. They grew into separate people but still stayed together. He was mentally, verbally abusive, and she would come to me also. This was like, they broke up maybe like within the last year, I would say, but they would break up all the time, at least like once or twice a week. And I love her to death, but I understand like where you're coming from. But she finally ended things with him, and then she met her boyfriend who she's with now, and they actually just bought a house together. And I feel like I say this in every episode, but it's like you can be with him for 2 months or 2 years, like it doesn't matter. Time does not matter. It's who you're with.
And with my situation, I mean, I was with my ex for 7 years, and we had never talked about marriage or next step, and it got to the point where I was like, what are we doing? And then when I did bring it up, he was mad at me, but we still went through with it. And like anytime we talked about wedding plans and stuff, he was mad about it. So it's just like not a good situation. If somebody doesn't want to go forward, then like, what are you doing?
Yeah, you shouldn't have to like talk them into it.
Yeah, that's what I had to do. I pretty much had to convince him to propose to me, which is so sad.
But I mean, you didn't realize like what you were doing at the time. No. You didn't you weren't able to like step back and look at the overall picture.
No, you just,
because it's very much like just brainwashing, and you don't realize it until
you definitely realize it later.
Rock bottom.
Because that's what I was thinking, like years from now, hopefully she gets out of that situation, like she's probably gonna be like, you were right. But I had to take a step back because I couldn't watch that anymore. And I would even like stand up for her right in front of him to his face, and then like I felt like betrayed because then she would be like sticking up for him right after that. I'm like, don't cry to me about it then.
At that point, she's not even worth like having in your life, I feel. No.
But yeah, and then the last straw was when I got married. Just like short story, but she was a bridesmaid, and she was always down to, like, oh, you're going to do a brunch thing? Oh, we're gonna go get our nails done, like whatever. We're gonna go drinking. Oh yeah, I can get out of school, I can get out of work. But if it was like, hey, can you help us clean up the venue the next day? Can you help us set up, like anything like that? Oh no, sorry, my phone was dead, I didn't get this. Like, just
the not fun stuff she didn't want to
that she needed to be there for.
Yes. And so I sent her this huge long thing about how mad I was about it, and she also, like, we only had open bar is expensive, so we didn't have that. We had open bar up until like a certain point, and I looked over at her at one point and she had 3 full drinks at once, and I was like, first of all, why don't you ask if me and my husband want something from the bar? And thirdly, like, you can't hoard drinks up here. That's not cool. And she's like, well, I want to get drinks before the money runs out. And I was like, so does
saying that to you. It's your money.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. So yeah, it was just after that point, because before it's like, how do you break up with a friend when she's in your wedding that's coming up?
Yeah.
But after that, I was like, done.
Oh yeah, that would be.
What did that conversation look like? Did you actually have it, or was it just like a slow, like, I'm just not really gonna put up with you anymore?
It was like I tried to forgive her a couple of times, and we hung out, but I noticed, because I tried to forgive her, but I noticed that it was done because I didn't like who I was when I was around her, or even after we got done hanging out. I was in a bad mood the rest of the day, and I didn't even want to look at her. I didn't want to talk to her. I was like, okay, yeah,
it
this
just
is
wasn't
done.
the same.
No, not at all. And so then I just unfriended her from Facebook, and then she finally noticed, and she tried to call me, and I was like, I already explained everything. I'm not doing it again.
Mm-hmm.
So,
yeah,
this is different, but it is something that I wanted to kind of talk about on here, so it's kind of a good moment to move in. So when I did leave my ex, I wasn't just leaving him, I was leaving my whole life. Like, everyone that was in my wedding was his friends, like significant others. Like, those were my friends, or those were the only people I hung out with. Mm-hmm. Not a single person reached out to me when I left. Not a single one of them wanted to know my side of the story or what happened. Like, they just
assumed.
Yeah, they made their assumption
with Eric, and
so I lost literally every single friend that I pretty much had at that point. So I understand breaking up with your friends.
Yeah.
So that was a weird transition. People don't understand the impact of like losing friends, and I lost, I mean, almost all of my friends.
You just had your family, and that was it.
Yeah. Which I had some friends like out of state and stuff that were, but I didn't have anybody like here.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Because I had given up everything to be in that relationship.
Yeah.
So
it's like, just over the years, you just kind of lose yourself and your own life.
Yeah. And so that's that. That's that story.
That's that right there, folks. Gosh. So tell us about your in-laws.
Oh, God. Well, I don't speak to them. Neither does my husband, except for his grandparents and his dad. His dad's side is fabulous. Mm-hmm. But yeah, his mom's side, not so much. I haven't talked to his mom since our wedding, so almost 2 years. Mm-hmm. And then I haven't talked to my sister-in-law for a year now. Yeah.
So what happened?
Well, we've always had a lot of issues because it's mostly women in the family, and not that that's bad, but you know how catty they can be.
I know where you're going.
Yes. They're very protective of him, and like I was never good enough for him. Mm-hmm. It was like you walk in and you feel like you're in high school, like you go to his grandma's house and they're all just like looking at you.
It's like you're like the new girl coming in, and
yeah, just very judgmental, and just always I wasn't good enough for him. And because I had problems with his sister kind of right off the bat with that. And I mean, she was only 17, like, you know, she's like really young, and I was only 20, so that's kind of understandable. Mm-hmm. But then about a year into our relationship, his mom stole money from me. Oh. And that it went real downhill from there, like so bad. So I've always had issues with her, especially the more I learned about how she was to my husband. It made me mad because I feel like I don't understand how somebody could do that to their kid, like treat their kid the way that she did. And she didn't even care because no one's ever held her accountable for what she does. Mm-hmm.
I feel like a lot of people have parents that are like that.
Mm-hmm.
And they need to be held accountable, but you're the child, so you can't do that.
Yeah, it's not, like,
you feel like it's not your
authority?
Position.
Yeah. It sucks. And especially like from my point, I'm her daughter-in-law. Like, I don't have any authority. Yeah. And I was also trying to tell him, like, please stand up for yourself and me. Like, please. And he had a really hard time with that because he's come out of his shell a lot, but was always very quiet and just non-confrontational.
Whatever happened. And if you say anything, you're just a bitch. So
don't
do it.
Yeah, exactly.
Don't do it. It's
not going to go anywhere.
They once he started standing up for himself, like, of course they thought that I was like controlling him.
Yeah. Like trying to change him.
Yeah.
But
because what I've learned is like people would rather put the blame on you than be held accountable for what they've done.
Absolutely.
It definitely taught me a lot. I went through a lot. Like, I remember breaking down so many times and telling him, my husband, that I'm like, there's only so much I can take. I really don't know if I can be with you because and I'm not going to make you choose between me and your family.
Yeah.
It's a constant emotional strain when you have issues with family or in-laws or anything like that. Something you have to deal with forever. Because even if you're not talking to them now, like
it's still there.
Yeah. I mean,
It's
anytime something
lingering
big,
around, it's not gonna go
anytime
away.
something big happens, like you can't really share it with them, and
Yes.
whether or not you want to, it still probably crosses your mind.
Yeah, because I see other girls who have like the sweetest mother-in-law ever, and I'm like, what's that like?
Yeah.
That'd be so nice to be able to get along with them.
Mm-hmm.
And I definitely have tried, like, for me, when his mom stole money from me, and she's never admitted it though, but that was something that was so hard to get over, because you know, when you forgive somebody who's not even sorry, that's
Just
so
don't do
hard.
it, honestly.
Yeah.
I don't think I could.
Because I didn't go around for months after that.
Mm-hmm.
And then when I did, his sister kind of took like her mom's side and thought that I was just causing problems. She didn't believe that it happened. And so
That does suck.
that caused like a huge issue between her and I all over again. And just, yeah, it, like, I could talk to you guys about this forever, but yeah, just don't have a good relationship with them at all. And eventually after our wedding, his mom made him choose between me and her. She said, if you choose her, I'm done. And he was like, okay, well, do you think I'm gonna spend the rest of my life with my mommy? Like,
Yeah.
I'm done. Especially because
People need
Macy
to
hasn't
grow
done
up.
anything wrong.
Yeah. People need to grow up.
It's just a lot of also, his family doesn't like to talk about problems. They just sweep it under the rug and act like they're perfect, and so that's
the
caused
worst.
a lot of issues.
That's honestly like the worst. I would hate to live in a household that's like that, and
It's bad.
you can't express anything.
Yeah, it just, I don't know. Yeah, it was really hard, especially because when we first started dating, he's like, your family argues a lot. And I was like, well, when we have an issue, we work it out. You guys just act like you're perfect and talk shit on each other.
Yeah. Yeah. Worst kind of family.
Yeah, so I don't know. It's definitely gotten so much better since we don't talk to them, because we don't have as many things to complain about to each other.
Yeah.
And like, we used to fight all the time over it, because his mom or sister or somebody would do something to me, or his cousins, like, they weren't even invited to our wedding, and they would like do something to me, and then we would get into it, and I'm like, they're ruining our relationship. Like, this is what they want.
Yeah.
Well, it's nice that you two are on the same page, and that's all that matters.
Yeah, I finally, because like, he was having such a hard time with confronting his mom, and I was like, stand up for me.
Yeah.
So yeah, finally
Got it
that
figured
happened.
out.
Well,
Yeah.
it's good to the situation sucks, but it is good, like, mentally, physically, and emotionally, to like cut ties with toxic people.
Yeah, I think it's
Even
like,
if it's like the scariest thing, like with what Brittany went through.
yes, it's so hard, but in the end, it's worth it after you've gone through it and you're done. It's so much better.
You realize that there's a better life out there for you.
For sure.
So you do massage therapy, but you're also really into art as well, and you're an artiste.
Ooh.
Tell us
Let's
about
get
all
on a
your
lighter
art.
topic.
Right.
Swerve.
Tell us about your art
Yeah.
stuff.
Okay, so I still struggle with it, but I thought that I wasn't good enough for it, because my friend a couple years ago, she was like, you need to do a Final Friday, an art show, something like that. And I was like, oh, no, I am not at that level yet.
Can you kind of tell me about that? Because I have heard of Final Friday, but I don't know, like,
Yeah, what
how
is it?
can anybody do it? I thought it was like a college thing when I first heard about it. So
I've heard of it, but I don't know what it is.
So now it's First Friday, because I guess everywhere else does First Friday, and we were the only ones doing Final.
Okay.
And so then they switched it recently.
Oh.
But it's kind of like all local businesses downtown, and some outside of downtown do art shows. They just host local artists. A lot of times you can just, if you're an artist, you can just message them and ask them if they have any openings for First Friday. So, yeah.
So is it only like artwork, like paintings, drawings and stuff, or is it like handmade stuff, also like jewelry, stuff like that?
Yeah.
Like, what exactly?
I've seen photography, pottery, jewelry, like all kinds of stuff. Yeah. So that's pretty cool. I've seen like even live art, like people doing dancing and stuff like that too.
Let's go.
Yeah.
So it's really fun.
I mean, I had heard of them, but I'm like, I don't know how, when, where, what, why. What.
Mm-hmm. Usually on Facebook they have a page where it'll like list all of them for that month, where all you can go and who's showing at different places.
Mm-hmm.
So, but my friend was like, you need to do one, and I was like, oh God, no, I am not at that level. I don't.
When did you like start doing art?
I've always done
Second grade elementary school
Yeah.
in Texas.
Right. So a long time. I've always done it, but like it was mostly just a fun thing. I never wanted it to become too much of a business, because then I feel like it wouldn't be as fun.
Yeah.
That's why I don't really like to do too many custom orders, because I don't feel like it's something that
You don't want to be a job.
Yeah.
I feel like when people are doing art as a business, you need to do pieces and sell them. You do not need to do custom work, because that's when it takes it away. If you're doing it like, oh, I love this, I'm doing it for me, and somebody wants to buy it, cool. But if I'm having to do something for you, it's not as fun.
That's when it gets stressful.
Yeah, it kind of sucks like having to try to balance that, especially because people will ask like, do you do custom orders? And I'm like, oh, I want to make the money, but I don't have my like creative freedom with that. And that's kind of the whole point of doing it. But yeah, my friend pushed me to do a show, because she worked at 86 Cold Press as her part-time job.
Oh, I love it there.
Yes. And so that was my first one. She asked Austin if I could do it. And so ever since then, I just like started booking them like every other month, every few months.
Yeah.
So
I feel like your main thing that you do are like the colorful canvases. Do those have name? Is that a
I guess you could say paint pouring.
Okay.
I feel like it does suck, because I like discovered doing that, and then I feel like it took off as like a trend, and everybody's doing it now.
Yes.
And I'm like, okay, so what sets me apart from all the other ones?
Yeah.
But
what do you do for that? Are you just pouring? Is it a certain kind of paint, or is there something else you have to add to it?
You add a pouring medium to acrylic paint. Yeah. And you can add like liquid silicone, can make different effects. I've seen people add like dish soap and stuff, but I've never tried that. But yeah, you just pour it on. There's different techniques of pouring it too, so it's fun.
I was gonna say, it looks fun.
It's messy. I'm always covered in paint.
Oh, I bet. Sometimes that's the best though.
I run my carpet at my apartment.
Oops. That's fine.
I need a studio.
So, tell us about your. I don't know how to ask. How do I ask this? Tell me where you get all your clothes so I can buy them too. So, like with your style, you obviously have like really good taste of.
Thank you.
I call it retro western.
I love that, because when you sent me that, I was like, she described it how I never thought it could be described. Like, I didn't know how to describe it.
I didn't know
and
that
I
was
was
a thing. Retro.
I don't know if
Western.
it is, but it is now.
It is now.
Because I've gotten more into like Western stuff, but it's like a balance of, I see like online girls like in New York wearing cowboy boots and stuff. I'm like, oh, that's edgy. But here in Kansas, they just think I'm a farm girl.
Yeah.
I'm like, no, I want to be more like that other chick.
Yes.
So I've kind of like tried to incorporate it with other stuff, so I don't look too much like,
like
country girl in Kansas.
Grungy, Western.
Yeah, I think it's all about having to mix the right pieces.
Yeah, because anytime I wear my cowgirl boots out, I'm like, ugh.
Oh, I'm a farmer's girl
stereotyping
today.
myself real hard.
Yeah, it's hard when that's where we live, is in Kansas.
Yeah. So where do you get all your clothes?
I go thrifting a lot.
Love thrifting.
Yes.
Do you have some hot thrift spots?
Yeah, tell us all your secrets.
Really, anywhere like anytime I see a thrift store, like I will like turn around and go back, or like a garage sale or something like that.
Yeah.
I love estate sales.
Oh yeah.
But yeah, I go to the DAV a lot, because I really like thrifting home decor too.
Yeah,
that's my jam. Which it's gotten dangerous, because now I have way too much stuff. Yeah, because I love like little knickknacks, like anything that's really weird. I'm like, oh, that
like
has
eclectic.
to go in there. Yeah, it has to be really strange. But then after a while, it can look too cluttered. So as much as I go thrifting, I also donate. Like, I'm constantly getting rid of stuff.
Yeah,
just switching it out.
That's how I am with my clothes. Like, if I buy a certain amount of pieces, I'll try to get rid of that certain amount.
Yeah.
And it ends up being like 3 trash bags a month, I think.
I know.
But yeah, I don't know. I've kind of also had to tell myself, like, oh, I love this, but it is really similar to something I already have. I'll let someone else find it.
Yeah.
Like,
That's nice of you.
Give them the joy of it.
Yeah.
Okay, so like to go along with your dope style and stuff, you also do modeling. I know you don't want to call yourself a model, but I'm going to call you a model.
Fucking model. You're a fucking model.
Well, thanks. Oh my God. I was at my friend Bailey's first Friday thing recently, and one of our other friends introduced me to Miss America or Miss Kansas or whatever. Mm-hmm. Yeah, Miss Kansas. And she was like, yes, she was like, this is my friend Macy. She's a model. And I was like, what? No, I'm not.
But you are.
Thank you. I don't know. It kind of all started when I became friends with Shelby Lane. Mm-hmm. And then like, it was like, hey, can you model for me? Or I was like, can you take pictures of me? That's how it really started. And especially because she asked me to be her assistant when she did a photo shoot.
I love Shelby.
Yes. And so that's how I met like so many girls too, because I went with her and took pictures of behind the scenes stuff at the 70s shoot she did. Mm-hmm. And so I met like Emily, Amanda, Hunter, like everyone from there. So that was really cool, especially because I made so many friends from that.
Yep.
So,
and now you do a lot of shoots, and I mean, just like peeping through your pictures, I feel like you have like some revealing ones.
You do.
I love it. I feel like you're very confident, and I'm not. So like,
yeah.
Please share your juicy secrets, because like I won't even wear like a belly shirt. I won't even wear fitted clothes. Like it's just not. I can't.
I've seen you in a bodysuit once, and that was it.
Yeah.
And it was for one picture.
I don't know.
And it was a loose fit one.
I feel like for one, it's kind of hard because I absolutely have days where I feel fat and ugly and just disgusting, because I think everybody has like that, you know, because I remember on Instagram one time there was some post on my Explore page about that, and I commented about my experience with it, and somebody commented back and was like, I just look at your profile, you know you're hot, shut up. And I was like, just because I'm posting the pictures that I feel good in doesn't mean that I don't ever feel bad.
Yeah. And you don't know how hard it was probably to post that picture too. Like it is kind of hard to do that.
Do you realize how long it took me to figure out if I should post it? Or like I'm not gonna post the bad stuff, obviously.
Yeah.
So I've been following a lot of pages that are more like body positive, like showing your stretch marks and all that stuff, and I think that has kind of helped me, but I still am not there.
That definitely helps, because then it's like, oh, that's what most people look like. I'm normal,
and they look so good, so I'm like, why can't I just post a picture in a fitted shirt? Like grow up, Brittany.
Like I did something on my Instagram story where I took pictures of my stretch marks and talked about it, and this girl who I don't even know messaged me, and she was like, thank you. And I was like, oh my God, like that's how I would think if somebody else who I thought was perfect did that. I'd be like, thank you so much.
It's like seeing all those like fitness Instagram models like posting perfect pictures all the time, but then they share that one where it's like they're in an unflattering pose, and I'm still just like,
like you're just slouching, but okay.
Look so good, and I just don't, even when I'm trying.
It's definitely like hard to compare yourself, especially, I mean, social media can be good and bad, but there's definitely, I mean, there's even times where like I would post my art and think it looks great, and then I saw somebody else's art on there and I'm like, oh, mine looks like crap.
I think I'm like that with photography. Like I'm trying to get to a certain point and I'm not there yet, and I see all these other beautiful pictures and I'm like, you know what you're doing, you're okay, you're fine, stop it.
Exactly. We're our harshest critics, you know. We're so hard on ourselves. But with the like revealing pictures and stuff, I kind of was like, for one, I want to show girls, like, even if my stretch marks may be edited out of a shot or something, like I'm not a tiny girl, I'm not super big, like I feel like mid-size isn't talked about too much, and I want to show girls like, hey, it's okay to have like thick thighs or a belly or something, like it's fantastic.
There's like a
still look hot.
Big plus size movement right now, but there's not like just
there's
like
no in-betweeners,
just like
I'm like, I'm sorry, I have a belly, I don't know what to tell you. Most of us do. And I mean, I've had people like my mom's friend was like, well, what does your husband think about you posting that? And I'm like, well, for one, it's my body, not his. He does not own it.
Amen.
And secondly, he's not one of those guys that's trying to tell me to cover up and stuff. Like my ex-best friend's boyfriend, he thinks that it's awesome that he's he feels like I'm empowered and like he's very supportive of that. And so he's like, if you feel good about it, then I say do it.
It's not like you're trying to like get some from posting it. Like it's for you.
Exactly. And I'm like, that's what I've always kind of been like with my ex-best friend. I'm like, he should be proud that he's with you, not coming up to you and buttoning your shirt more when he sees you.
Yeah, he should be flaunting his girl.
So I don't know. That's what I've like had to tell some people that are like wondering what he thinks about it. I'm like, well, it's not his body, it's mine.
Yeah.
So, and I'm not like cheating on him by doing that. So I think it's fine.
Yeah, no, it's perfectly fine.
You recently did a boudoir shoot with Bailey. Was that like did that make you feel awesome, or how was that? Because I thought about doing one, just maybe it would like kick my ass into like that direction. But
oh my god, yeah, you should totally do it. Because for one, I gotta hype up my girl. It makes me feel so comfortable, and it's so fun.
Yeah,
the whole time she's like, yes bitch, look at you.
She's so funny.
Oh my god, it's the best. It really like gives you a lot of confidence, and she knows, like, you can trust, like, she knows what angles are gonna look good. You're gonna look good.
Yeah, because I feel like a lot of people walk into a boudoir shoot and they're like, I don't know how to be sexy anymore. Like,
yeah, she like can coach you through posing like crazy, because I had never done something like that.
Yeah.
And when I did it, she wanted to promote that she's doing only boudoir. So it was back around Halloween, and she wanted 3 models. And I was like, hi. Like, I didn't really know her back then that well. And I was like, can I be a model for it? I'm nervous, but can I?
I saw her post it, and I wanted to reply, but I did not.
Yeah.
Sure didn't.
And so that's like when I did it, and it was really fun. So I want to do another one. I'm actually trading with her. We've had to put it on hold because of the whole pandemic, but I have a massage table that I have at her house because I've been massaging her, so we can just trade for a shoot. But
this is kind of going backwards, but you do massage for a company here in town. Do you always want to do that, or do you want to like maybe go out on your own and do that kind of thing?
It's definitely something that's crossed my mind, just because, you know, I feel like anybody would think of that. But I don't want to, because I see the things that my boss has to deal with as far as insurance, taxes, cranky clients, just so much stuff goes into running your own business. And I would so much rather just go in there, have all my supplies provided for me, and do my thing and leave.
Yeah.
Yes.
And I don't pay rent. It's not like a booth rental. I'm an employee, so I'm like, this is the perfect place for me.
That's nice.
Yeah.
But
it's a lot less stress and weight off your shoulders.
Yeah,
honestly.
I wouldn't want to have to deal with all the other aspects of it.
So through like the boudoir shoot and feeling confident in yourself and social media and everything, talk to us about like feminism and your thoughts, feelings, reasons on like being an advocate for females.
I love that. See, it's like you don't think of yourself as like things like, I don't know, I didn't think of all these things that maybe might label me until you guys you're like, hey, we stalked you on social media and we've thought of this
stood out.
and this, and I'm like, oh my gosh, I'm not a model or an advocate.
I'm just Macy.
But I don't know, because my mom, like, even my mom would be like, this is my daughter, she's an artist. I'm like, Mom, stop. But yeah, as far as like feminism goes, I think for so long I was really scared to say that word even and say like I'm a feminist, because it gets a really bad rep.
It does.
And I think it's just because people don't fully understand what it means.
Yeah.
They think it's like just men haters.
Yeah.
But that's actually like not it at all whatsoever. Because I even had like an instance recently where my husband and 2 of his friends were I would say sexually harassed at an event that we were at. I guess that's how I'd put it. And by a girl, and I absolutely 100% was like, nope, not okay, and stood up for them. And I think that the guys were kind of, not my husband, but the other 2 guys, I think they were like shocked that I was so like, oh my God, no, this is not okay. Yeah. Because they know that I'm a feminist, and they're not, I don't know if they always agree with what I say. But I think the fact that I like stood up for them just as much as I would if it was the other way around.
Yeah.
They were like, oh.
You're not the type of feminist that's running around the streets with their shirts off with cuss words on their chest and stuff like that.
Like bashing. There's the girls that are bashing men.
Yeah.
It should go both ways. It's not just feminism. You need to support the men too.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't think that some people understand what it means, whether they're talking shit on feminists or they consider themselves one and they still don't even know what they're actually doing.
Yeah.
So, because it's more of that we want to be on the same level, not that we want to be higher.
Like equal rights, kind of.
And a lot of people, I think, even females, a lot of them don't think that there's an issue anymore and it doesn't need to be talked about. But, I mean, I think a lot of it is it's easy to act like it's not happening if it's not happening personally to you.
Mm-hmm.
But you have to stand up for the other people that are going through things. And why not teach our youth about it too? Because it could go backwards downhill so fast.
Yeah.
Like they need to know about it as well.
I took a class in college. It was a feminist class, and we had to write some sort of a paper. And like the question to me was so one-sided that it irritated me a lot. Mm-hmm. And so in my paper back, I like just stood up for men, and like I was like, I understand that this is a feminist class, but like you shouldn't be going that hard one way. And then like I didn't get like a super awesome grade on it, but it wasn't bad enough for me to be like, oh, she did this because of my
response.
Yeah, my response. And then she like left a note on it, and it just said interesting, period. And I was like,
God.
Oh, she's one of them.
This is the problem with feminists, because like you're going too far one way when it needs to just be equal on both sides.
Yeah.
Because I think there is a lot of stuff that guys go through, and I think there is a pressure on them a lot to act like it's not bothering them. And because I don't know the numbers for sure, but I feel like it's a lot more guys who commit suicide and stuff. And maybe it's because of that pressure.
It's like middle-aged men who, I feel like men have to put on this front of like they have to be like the breadwinners in the house. They have to support their family, stuff like this. And here come like middle-aged men who aren't making as much money as I thought they were going to be, or don't feel like they're doing a good job, and that's what leads them to suicide because they feel like there's no way out. But I agree with you completely. Like I think there's a lot of pressure on men, and men are told not to explain their feelings and stuff like that, and that really sucks. Bad. Yeah,
it's like we're all humans. Why does it matter what's between your legs? They feel emotions just as much as women do.
Yes,
like it doesn't matter.
Yeah,
they should be treated that way.
Yeah. So with like thoughts and feelings and stuff like that, you think going to therapy is important. So why do you think it's so important for people? Like what benefits do you think it has?
For one, talking to somebody who knows none of the people that you're talking about, they've never met them. They are just hearing your side of it is nice because they don't have any input from like what anyone else has told them.
It's not biased.
Yeah. And sometimes too, just talking about it out loud, you kind of solve your own issues yourself, even because you start thinking about it differently and reanalyzing it.
Even just like writing stuff down, like journaling can be a good way. Like you just write down something that happened, and then the next day you're like, oh, it wasn't that big of a deal.
When I get my life together, I'm gonna start journaling, I promise.
You are.
In a year when my life is together.
I'll buy you a journal for your birthday.
Thank you. My half birthday.
Okay. What is, this is going back, we're all over the place right now, but what is a message that you think that young girls need to hear today?
I definitely think that they need to not be sorry as much and like hold their ground more and not worry about if they're stepping on anyone's toes, whether it's a guy or a girl. I think that they just need to hold their own and kind of, because I feel like growing up in our generation, we were told like to kind of suppress how we're feeling and stuff to make other people comfortable. And I feel like they should be as loud as they want about anything that's going on in their lives.
I agree completely.
I recently had somebody message me, and they were like, the first time I met you, you were so quiet, and I've listened to your podcast now, and you're not.
You have a lot of thoughts and feelings, huh?
And I was like, well, you kind of met me when I was at a weird time. Like my ex had suppressed me. He like he didn't agree with how I told stories. He thought that I was like too energetic and I got too into him, and I could feel him always glaring at me. So it got to the point where I just never spoke. Like all of his friends would call me shy. Yeah. And if you knew me before that relationship, I'm not shy at
Even
all.
now.
Yeah.
You'll talk to anybody.
God, I can't imagine like making someone feel bad about being excited about something.
Yeah.
Like
I would just
so
be
mean.
talking like this, like whatever, and I could just feel like getting burned. So I just quit talking.
I'm so glad you're out of that situation.
Me too. Yeah. But suppressing is a big thing, even with family.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Oh, yeah.
So with my relationship, so with his last relationship, he felt like he had to suppress all of his feelings or else he would get in trouble. And so that lasted for like 10 years on and off. And so him and I always talk about it. We see these little things where he's like apologizing for stuff he doesn't even need to apologize about, but that's because he's trained to feel bad about everything he does. Mm-hmm. And so he says sorry all the time. And I'm like, you don't need to say sorry. And he's like, I know, it's just very weird for me. I know I need to stop it, but it's just what I've known the past 10 years. And I'm like, I understand completely, but I just want you to know, like, you have every right to, like, stand up for yourself. I don't want you to feel like you're always the bad guy or something like that. And so it really takes a toll on people.
Yeah, because that's what I thought of, like, when I say... I've had a hard time saying no to things that I don't really even want to do, but I try to say yes just to make the other person happy. Yes. And I'm like, what... Because I'm worried that I'll betray them or something, but why am I not worried about betraying myself? Like, that should be my first thought. I mean, yeah, you should care about others, but I feel like you need to take care of yourself.
That's how I was a couple years ago, when I was, like, taking the road everybody is told that they should take, like, after high school. Like, you should go to college, you should do this, and I just kept saying yes and yes and yes, and I overworked myself. And so, yeah, like, once I got more into photography and, like, more, like, freelancing stuff, and I kind of built my business up. Yes, it was a struggle, but then I was like, I'm not saying yes anymore because I'm ruining myself and I'm not gaining anything out of this. And it was a very hard transition, but once I did it, it kind of took away a lot of my problems.
Yeah, it's like, why is there a set schedule that we're supposed to follow? And also, like, I get some people, like your parents, they might care because they want you to have a good life, but why do people care so much about the way that you go about things in your life?
Yeah, instead of your own happiness and what you really want to do.
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree.
I guess they just want you to be successful, but it's like, let me do my thing.
Yes.
We have like one more fun question to wrap it up, unless there's anything else that you want to cover that we didn't.
I don't think so.
Okay. Well, I wanted to ask in case you did, because
I think I know what it is.
If you could massage one famous person, who would it be and why?
I thought about this for a while, and I was like, of course, with massage, like, it's super professional. Like, I'm you can't be too weird about it, but like, it'd definitely be Paul Rudd because I love him so much.
I do love him.
That's so awesome, actually. I did not even think about him.
He would probably make you laugh the whole time. It'd probably be really fun.
But you'd probably like learn some life lessons and stuff like that also.
Yeah, he's a fun dude.
He's just awesome.
I didn't even think about it. I was thinking of like Marilyn Monroe or something.
You're always thinking of like the most deep thing.
I know. I said like Johnny Cash on a different episode of like
who you would have dinner, spend the day with.
I'm
like Cash. David Dobrik because he's gonna give me a car.
Oh my god, I remember listening to that.
She's like Johnny Cash. I'm like, fuck you. She's trying to win brownie points. She wants people to think she's nicer than me.
I don't know. I've tried to think of like, ooh, if I could hang out with like 5 celebrities, living or dead, like who would I pick? There's so many that I would want to talk to.
I know. Yeah.
Well, we appreciate you sitting down with us, telling us all your stories and your things and your beautiful inside and out.
Thank you.
Tell all of our listeners where they can find you. Both you have 2 pages.
Both your social media accounts and then also
your art.
Okay.
That's what I was going.
Yart.
So, like my personal Instagram is Macy.Musgraves because I love Casey Musgraves.
I love her too. Oh my god.
And I was like, Macy, Casey. And my friend Sarah told me that I remind her of Casey. And I was like, about to cry.
You're very eclectic like that.
I was like,
are you kidding me? I started screaming. I was like, that's the best compliment I've ever gotten.
Yeah.
But yeah, and then my art is Macy Haney Artistry on Instagram and Facebook. So yeah.
All
Love
right.
it. Well, thanks everybody for listening. If you want to find us, you better like and subscribe first of all. You can find us on Instagram at sideboobs.sidehustles.
Yeah.
I can't remember it. Wow.
I know,
It's
there's
been a
so
while.
many pages.
You can find me, Brittany. I changed my Instagram, so surprise, at Britt Farris.
And me, Shelby, at probably Shelbs.
All right, that's all we got. See you next Wednesday.
Peace out.
Bye. Bye.